guys, it's Trina, and this is my non-spoiler full series review of the Starbound Trilogy by Amie Kaufman and Meagan Spooner. The first book is These Broken Stars, book 2 is This Shattered World, and the last book is Their Fractured Light. This is a young adult science fiction series of companion novels. These are also romances, and so each book follows a different pair of characters. They all have a different perspective of the main storyline that's going on here, and all 6 of these main characters are connected to these events in some way. So that's why these are companion novels, but they really definitely are a series with a very strong plot that goes through all 3 of them. This is a futuristic story where humans have expanded to multiple planets, and there is this big mega corporation that is in charge of building up these new planets and making them habitable for humans. The businessman that owns it has done some really shady things. And in all 3 of these books, the main characters are involved in some way of usually wanting to uncover the mystery of what is going on with this company. I do want to tell you a little bit more about each book. So book 1 is following the daughter of the businessman that owns that mega corporation, and it also follows a guy who is in the military. Both of these characters are on a spaceship that happens to crash land on a planet that nobody knew existed. They are the only 2 survivors of this crash, and they are total opposites. Tarver has all the military training so that he can help them to survive, but Lilac is such a debutante. She just does not know what she is doing, and they really have to rely on each other to survive on this strange uninhabited planet, and on it they uncover a mystery that is going on. Book 2 takes us to a totally different planet, and on this planet there is a group of rebels, and we are following a character who is a leader of the rebels and a character who is a leader of the military. Again, this is another kind of opposites being forced to work together because they end up finding out that they both have a common interest, and they do team up together to solve the mystery of what's going on their planet. And in the course of this book, you find out that it is related to what the characters in book 1 went through. Book 3 is set on yet another planet, and these characters are a hacker and a con artist. Each of them are separately trying to hack into and infiltrate this big mega corporation and find out what this mystery is that's happening. Each of them have strong reasons for doing so, and they have really big trust issues, but their plans go wrong and they end up being thrust together and having to work together to get out of it. Although each of the books do follow a different set of characters, the characters from the previous books do make appearances, and they are especially around at the end of book 3. They're in the same room together, they're interacting, and I felt like that was such great payoff. As for the characters, I loved every single one of them. Lilac is my favorite character. I just thought that she had a really great dynamic because she's the daughter of like the evil guy in this series. To talk about the romances in these series, since that is a pretty prevalent theme, I really did enjoy the opposites attract element to books 1 and 2, and then in book 3 I enjoyed that both characters had trust issues and that they had to be vulnerable and let the other one in. I really loved the dynamic between Gideon and Sophia in book 3, and I think they are my favorite couple, but my favorite book overall would be book 1, These Broken Stars, because there's a very strong survival element in that one, and these 2 characters are complete opposites and they have to rely on each other to get by, and there's just a really cool, creepy vibe when you're first learning about the mystery. So all of those things really spoke to me, all the dynamic between the characters, the tropes, and the elements that were used. Book 1 was definitely my favorite. And I think that the second book, This Shattered World, honestly would have been my least favorite of the series, although I still rated it highly. I gave it 4 stars. I really loved the elements of it that showed us the characters from the first book and that got back into that mystery, but it was hard to jump into a new planet, a new story with new characters. Book 3 I think was an easier transition for me because we actually already kind of knew the main characters in book 3. We saw one of them in book 2. She was a speaking side character in that book, and then the other character was somebody that is tied heavily into the lives of some of the other characters in the series. So since they were more connected with the previous characters, it was easier for me to get into their story. As for the overall plot of the series, I really loved the sci-fi elements. There's different planets, there's space travel, and there are aliens, and I really loved the type of beings that they were because they were like a collective consciousness. They did not have physical form, and it was just really cool for me to think about that. The way that Kaufman and Spooner used these beings to make statements about humanity was something that I found really moving. I love stories that will take another being, like an alien or a robot or something, and have them experiencing human emotions and human thought for the first time. This is a series that did that in small sections of all 3 books, and that was definitely my favorite part. I think that it shows a lot about what it means to be human, how great it is to have the emotions that we have, how weird it is that all of us are capable of both good and evil, and just the look at society and humanity as a whole, and like our whole history and what these beings learn about us. It just really spoke to me. It was a really fascinating element that I really enjoy in any sci-fi story, and I really loved how the Starbound trilogy did it. As far as the representation in this series, all the romances are straight and for the most part white. The main character in book 2, Jubilee, she is mixed race. I believe she is black and Chinese, so she is the only person of color, but there is a lot of inclusion in some of these side characters. Book 1 is pretty isolated. You've got 2 characters that are stuck on a planet. But books 2 and 3 did have several side characters that were diverse in terms of either race or sexuality. This is a series that I really enjoyed reading. I am definitely glad that I stuck it out to the finish. I'm glad that I know how everything went down now. I can't think of anything else that I should cover in this review, so if I've left something out that you really want to know, definitely ask me that in the comments and I will answer you there. The only series that I can even think of to compare this one to, is like, if you like this one, you'll like that one, is the Illuminae series, which is also co-authored by Amie Kaufman. The plots and stuff are not the same at all. The formatting of these is definitely nothing like Illuminae. This is just like straightforward text, but they are both science fiction series that each book follows a different pair of characters, so you know, that element of it is similar. I definitely think that Amie Kaufman is a good sci-fi writer. I have enjoyed both of her series that I have read, and I really enjoyed this one and would recommend it if you like YA sci-fi romances. Again, if you have any other questions about this series, let me know that down below, and if you have read it, I would love to hear what your thoughts were. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the comments. Bye!